Hey, what's up, everybody? Lawler here. Another Sunday means another Q&A day and another day of me being sick. So I'm going to do my best to get through a lot of questions. You guys had a ton in my last week video, which I greatly appreciate. I'm going to probably be taking a lot of those as well. But if you guys wanted your questions answered, as always, drop them in the comments down below. Even if I don't get to answer them, feel free to leave another comment with the same question. I'll try to see it when I can. But I usually go back to previous weeks as well when I'm trying to feed them. But with that said, let's go tackle these. How's it going, everybody? Lawler here, inside source for all things Rocket League. Favorite day of the week. It's Sunday, where I get to answer you guys' questions. Legitimately, this is my favorite video of the week to make. So I do greatly appreciate all the love and support. Trying to hit 50k subs by the end of the year. If you guys want to make sure you drop a like, follow, sub, all that stuff down below. First question is going to come from Christian that says, "Hey, Chris here. Appreciate all the content on YouTube and Twitch." Yo, thanks, man. What is the most important life lesson that you have learned in your time involved in esports? I think the biggest one is that life's short. The difficulty is that I'm a pretty reserved guy. I'm very introverted. Surprise, right? But I'm a very introverted person. I keep to myself. I'm okay with being a homebody and doing my thing. And over the course of the last 6 years of my career, I've been able to go to a handful or two of countries, travel the world, meet a lot of really interesting people from all different cultures and places. And my biggest advice, too, along with this, is if you guys have never heard of the YouTube group called Yes Theory, I highly recommend it. They have this motto or this purpose of talking about putting yourself in uncomfortable situations so you can grow and develop as a person. The concept of being in something that you're not open to or something that you're uncomfortable with so you can better evolve as a human. The ability to talk and interact and see different perspectives are things that normally you would be reserved from, and getting out of your comfort zone to better grow. And I think esports as a whole was that. You know, when I first started in 2016, I quit my job. I was in a cozy job with good money, and I quit it, traveled to a place on my own for the first time, to California, and sat in front of thousands of people and talked on camera. I was freaking out. And it has led to some of the best moments in my entire life. And that's all with knowing it could be over tomorrow. My job as a content creator, as a commentator, as someone who gets to work in this space, there is no guarantee someone's going to watch my videos. There's no guarantee that someone's going to want to support. There's no guarantee that I'm going to have a job the next day, which is very, very scary. But that pressure allows me to be creative and think of things that I normally wouldn't think. It pushes me to be better. So I guess the best life lesson is put yourself in a situation that may be awkward. Say yes to difficult scenarios. Say yes to challenges. Say yes to the struggles and hardships, because you never know what's going to come out of it. In my case, I've gotten to meet some of my favorite people that I ever have. I've gotten better relationships with my friends and my family. I've met people that I consider family and some of my best friends that I never would have met otherwise. So I guess the best advice I can give is say yes to change. I guess say yes to complications, say yes to situations that give you the opportunity to grow and become better. Goldman says, "When do you see next LAN taking place? We've been starved for so long." We have. Also, do you think they'll do RLCS 11 or XI? I do think it's going to be RLCS XI. I'm pretty sure they'll go to the Roman numeral format. I think that's how it's going to be from now on. I can tell you right now, I'm almost 99% sure that RLCS XI will be starting in October. And if format and stuff goes the way that I think it will, from what I've heard, we can expect to see a LAN very, very early of 2022, most likely in January before the trade window, if it does happen. That is what I am hearing. That is what I am thinking. If we do our first regional major, it will not be a regional major. It'll be an international major like they're originally planned. So January 2022 is, fingers crossed, is what we're looking for. Hewick says, "Hey, Lawler, really enjoying your videos. Keep going." Thank you, sir. My question says, "What advice would you give to somebody who wants to gain experience in casting?" This is a fun one because I do get a lot of DMs on Twitter about, hey, I want to be a caster. I want to do what you do. How do I do it? And my first question is, have you started? And a lot of them say no. I can't tell you if you like it or not. I can't tell you how to progress forward if you've never done it in the first place. You don't really need much to be a commentator. All you need is the ability to watch gameplay, which is on YouTube all over the place, and commentate over it. And that can be in any experience in life. I mean, when we were RLCS commentators, like me, Jorby, James, Leaf, and stuff, we would rap to instrumental music and like lo-fi hip hop just to practice commentary and riffing off the cuff and the ability to think on the fly. And you can do that in any experience. But if you've never casted before and you want to gain experience, I mean, my experience was I casted community tournaments by the organization VVV. I'm sure IGL is always looking for additional casters and stuff too, but you have to go and search it. You have to be ambitious. You have to be hungry, because there's other people who are going to be working harder than you. So if you want experience, go and look for it. Go and search to see what community tournaments are going on in Rocket League and ask to commentate them. And if you can't find any, do it yourself. That's how Wavepunk got hired as an RLCS commentator. He literally took gameplay videos from other places and commentated over the top of them on his own YouTube channel. You have to go and do the work. You have to go and find it. You can't have anybody hand that stuff to you. You have to go and do it yourself. Because I can guarantee you, if you don't have that ambition, if me telling you it'll never make it, there's a lot of people that misconstrue my statement when I say that. There's a lot of people that ask me and it's like, yo, I want to be a caster. And I tell them, stop, don't do it. You'll never make it. And people stop listening after that. And if that's enough of a deterrent to make you not do it, I promise you will never make it in this industry. I've been told so many times throughout my entire career that you'll never make it, that it's not a viable thing. Video games aren't a career. You can't make money off of it, all that kind of stuff. And if those voices were enough to make me stop, then yeah, I agree. I never would have made it. But you have to be ambitious. You have to be hungry. You have to be stubborn. And that's the best advice and the best way to gain experience. Go and do it yourself. If someone's not willing to give you an opportunity, go take some footage, hit record, go back, listen to it. Find things that you need to improve upon. Hey, I used this word too much. Pull out a thesaurus. Take a look. Rather than saying opposite, say antithesis. Rather than saying dictionary, say lexicon, Increase your vocabulary and try to improve bits and pieces over time. I didn't get to be a esports commentator overnight. It took thousands upon thousands of hours of sleepless nights, staying up late, talking with Leaf X over Hangouts, and kind of just improving over time. It took a lot of work. Sitting and reading the dictionary on the airplane because I didn't know what the heck a word meant, and I still need to do that. So again, the best advice: be hungry, be ambitious, go after it. Yazan says, what do you think about Violent Panda leaving Dignitas after being in the team for 3 years since he joined? Dude, it's end of an era. It's actually crazy. Understand that that Dignitas roster, when they were Gale Force and then became Dignitas, was the first time that we had like a dynasty or a team that won consistently over the course of multiple seasons. We hadn't really had a team that was that dominant ever before. So the fact that it is no more, that original Dignitas roster is no more, Violent Panda, who's been a captain for a long time, is no more, is really weird. It was kind of like when Kronovi left G2. It felt different. And I think that's going to be very similar moving forward. I think the circuit-based system has changed a lot of things. And you're going to see a lot of things change in the way that we view Rocket League as an esport probably in the next year here. And I'm actually super excited about it. I think I'm very, very adamant about some of the things that are going to be taking place. But ultimately, yeah, man, it's a different era. A lot of these young kids are coming in. A lot of these free-to-play kids are starting to get better and better. You've got these 15-year-olds like Daniel and stuff that are coming up that are just absolutely insane. So a lot of these older guys are going to either have to find a way to stay involved or transition into that next step in life, whether it be commentary, coaching, whatever it may be. So yeah, Violent Panda, luckily he's got the captain ability. He's got a really good way of kind of dishing the ball and facilitating on the field. So what he ends up with, if it is Olean though, I'm for it. So yeah, it's crazy. Dignitas without Violent Panda or Turbo or K-Dop. It's weird, man. Next question comes from Bradley that says, hey Lawler, if you could instantly play like any pro, who would you pick? That's a tough one. There's a lot of really good players, but I wouldn't mind being like a Justin. I think Justin would be a cool one. A guy that can literally just see the ball and do whatever the hell he wants with it. Any situation, still have that like creative flow. It's tough to explain Justin's play style, but like when you watch him, there's just like a fluidity to it. There's kind of like there's like a swagger to the way that he plays, plus the ability to like mechanically just anytime you want to do something, you just can. Someone like Justin would be pretty sick. Next question comes from Charlotte. It says, hey dude, love your content. Thank you. You guys have been very generous. Who's your favorite person to drink with after a LAN event? Also, who can't hold their liquor? Obviously, there's a lot of young bucks, but how well do guys like Johnny, Sizz, and Gibbs hold their liquor? It depends. Usually after parties, there's a copious amount. Everybody's trying to celebrate after a hard-earned season, so depending on how crazy it gets, some people can, some people can't. Usually people are pretty behaved. It just depends on what happens after the after party. Like Vegas, because there is no shutdown time, got pretty crazy. Amsterdam was dope too. Amsterdam after party was still the best. But there's not really any one particular person I enjoy drinking with. I think it's more about the community. Getting to just understand, like, at those events, you only see those guys once every so much. But it's also fun to hang out with those guys outside of work. So like all the casters and stuff are homies. Getting to hang out with John Sandman's probably one of my favorite people in this community. Absolute legend. Phantom Ace, all those dudes. Cassim G is it was like really cool. Got to meet him at a couple events. But when people are there just as pros, just as people hanging out, like we're viewed as a Rocket League community rather than as a teams and individuals, and like, oh, you guys are casters, oh, you're pros. The after parties kind of bring everybody together. It's just a giant celebration. There's really fun stories, and a lot of those younger kids kind of see us older guys as casters in a different light. So it's kind of like that mutual respect, which is really cool. But in particular, I mean, I always mention the homies. You know, any of the guys from the casting team, people that I kind of grew up in my career with, was always a good time. There's not really any pros that you don't want to hang out with. It's just a matter of what the next thing is. I know a lot of the older pros, like I miss Ignite. I love hanging out with Fruity, stuff like that. Just any of the older pros, because obviously a lot of the younger guys are, you know, under 21, so you can't. But I like a lot of the French dudes. Farah's really cool. Yeah, I could list goes on, man. It's really tough to pick one, but legitimately John Sandman's one of my favorite people in the scene. Getting to spend time with John Sandman's is a rarity because he's so busy and has 2 kids now, but he's definitely up there with Gibbs too, not having 2 kids. But there's not really any one person that I pick above others. It's just hopefully they're in that conversation at some point or sometimes. There's only one person that I know that is a lightweight and had like a beer and got drunk and was like completely ish-faced, but we don't need to throw them under the bus, so we'll leave it at that. As a follow-up question about the duration of RL careers, what do you think the reasonable path to take for retiring as a career? I've actually kind of answered this already in today's video. A lot of pros, after they kind of hang up the cleats and turn into coaches, managers, they can go, if they have a good connection with the organizations, they can go and work on the business side of things. Depends on what kind of networking and what kind of relationship they've built. They can also become commentators and analysts, all former pros. If they have the ability to articulate and stuff, it is a craft that they can learn. And although they may suck at first, which we all do, it is something that they can learn and experience and get better at and refine. But yeah, I mean, do they want to go work in the production side? Do they want to go become a pro commentator analyst? Do they want to focus on school and go to that next step? Do they want to become content creators? Do they want to become personalities, public figures? You know, whatever they want to do, I think it's a lot of different options. They just have to make sure that they don't do it before it's too late. These are the kind of things you want to be thinking about in the middle of your pro career, not until like, oh, last case scenario, worst case scenario, what do I do now? It should be something that you transition into. Best example again I can give is Rizzo. You look at Rizzo. Rizzo wanted to retire for a long time. He knew content creation was his calling and his passion, and eventually was able to, you know, kind of transition into that. And now he's super successful. Not that he wasn't already. So there's a lot of different options that you can go, whether it be the turtle route, become a former commentator. I would love to see someone like Kronovi do that and go be on the analyst desk with Gibbs. I think that'd be super cool. But I think a lot of the pros are going to stay within the esports side of things, with being coaches or being someone of a staff of an esports organization, which isn't a bad idea. You look at some of the people like Verge and stuff like that, where it's like easy transition. Violent Panda, you know, those guys I do think could go and work for an esports organization on the staffing side as a, you know, consultant or someone that sits at the boardroom table and provides their insight. So very valuable information that those guys provide from living and experiencing it. That's why I get hired as a consultant. Gabriel Garcia, as our last question, says, hey, I saw a recent video where someone spoke to different creators and coaches, and Verge made a statement saying that there should be a Rocket League player committee where I believe pros and content creators are involved in communicating with Psyonix devs to create an atmosphere to see what would work well to improve Rocket League's longevity. What's your take on such thing? Any pros and cons? I can tell you if you guys would like. If you guys want me to do a full detailed video on this topic, I gladly will. To provide a little bit of insight though, but yeah, let me in the comments know down below if you guys want a detailed video on something like a players union, My own experiences when I was an RLCS commentator, me and the other commentators would do what is called a post-mortem, where after every show, after every big broadcast, we would sit down, we talk about things to improve on, things we wanted to get better about, things that we liked, didn't like, and way to improve. At the end of every season, we would, as a commentary team, sit down and then bring our concerns and address certain things to Psyonix in hopes of seeing those improvements from year to year. This is something that everybody should do, pros, etc. It's just a matter of, is Psyonix receptive to doing that? And they have gotten better. It is never a bad thing. A line of communication is never a bad thing. It's a much more professional take than complaining on Twitter. If you have a group of collected and respective members saying, hey, these are the things we want better, these are the things that we think are important, Psyonix, please hear and listen to us. And then if year after year you don't get that kind of feedback, you don't get that line of communication, Psyonix decides to deny that, that is when you make your voice heard publicly. So you go through the professional channels, and then if it's not there, but yeah, 100%. There's literally no negative to this at all. Like, having that line of communication is super important. That's going to wrap it up for me today on the Q&A. Hopefully we got some questions. Again, apologize for the poor energy. I'm dying. My voice is killing me right now. I've had to stop this video a couple times to like blow my nose and stuff and take drinks of water. So appreciate you guys bearing with me. If you guys want to make it up to me, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give a video a thumbs up if you enjoy content. As always, if you guys want additional questions or if you'd like to have those questions answered, let me know in the comments down below, and we will see you guys next time. But that is going to do it for me. More fun videos coming up next. I'll probably address the players union thing, as it's been a pretty good topic here in the near future. But any other ideas or any other topics you'd like me to talk about, Discord down below. I've got a video idea and suggestion option. We'd love to have you guys over there. We got like 1,500 people in the community. But all my social medias, links to everything down below. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.